The winds of Nexus Prime howled like they were trying to tear the planet apart. Roger Kane sat cross-legged at the very edge of a crystalline cliff, unmoving, while the storm clawed at his black metallic combat suit. Twin suns bled their dying light across the sky, painting the sprawling metropolis of New Haven below in violet and gold. Towers of obsidian. And chrome stabbed upward, human, engineering forced into alien soil by sheer stubborn will. Meditation was the only thing that kept the memories quiet. Earth, the wars, the moments when humanity had learned painfully that survival among the stars wasn't granted. It was taken. Roger breathed in, breathed out. Then his neural implants caught something wrong. Footsteps, light, unsteady, and beneath them, sobbing. He didn't turn immediately. Whoever it was needed space. Or courage. The steps grew closer, breath hitching in sharp, broken pulls. When Roger finally glanced over his shoulder, he saw her. A Nexian female, violet skin glowing faintly in the twilight. Long black hair whipped across her face by the wind. Her sleek bodysuit meant nothing. This wasn't seduction. This was collapse. Her iridescent eyes were locked on the abyss beyond the cliff. Roger recognized that look. He'd worn it himself once. "The view's better if you sit down first," he said casually, voice carrying through the storm. "Trust me, I've tested this spot extensively." She froze, turned. Her expression twisted when she saw he was human. Anger, confusion, pain all colliding at once. "This doesn't concern you," she snapped, though her voice shook. Roger shrugged, relaxed, like the drop behind them didn't exist. "Maybe not. But I draw the line at people crying alone on cliffs. Bad for morale." She laughed once, sharp, broken. "You humans think you understand suffering. You don't." "Try me," he said. "I've got time. And cliffs aren't going anywhere." Silence stretched. The wind screamed. Then he patted the stone beside him. "If you still want to jump after we talk, I won't stop you. Hell, I might join you. Would be rude to let a lady dive alone." That did it. She blinked, confused, thrown off balance. And for the first time, she stepped back from the edge. She didn't know it yet, but this human wasn't here by accident. And neither was she. Her name was Mara. She said it like it weighed too much. They sat side by side, the abyss behind them, the city below. Roger actually listened as her story poured out between shaking breaths. She was a scientist. Nexian Science Institute. Quantum consciousness transfer. Not theory. Not dreams. Working prototypes. Technology that could let pilots cross lethal regions of space without risking their bodies. Minds traveling while flesh stayed safe. Entire wars could have been avoided. Millions of deaths erased. Roger whistled low. That would have changed the Void Wars. Her eyes flicked to him. "You fought?" "Survived," he corrected. Her voice hardened as the truth emerged. Director Malin, mentor, thief. He'd stolen her research, locked her out, destroyed her credibility. Tomorrow, at the Galactic Science Summit, he'd present her life's work as his own. "And I'll be remembered," she whispered. "As unstable, disgraced, forgotten." Roger's jaw tightened. "Tomorrow's not happening," he said. She laughed bitterly. "Security is impenetrable." "To a Nexian scientist," he agreed, then smiled slowly. "Not to a human security consultant hired to evaluate that exact system." Hope sparked, dangerous, fragile. "You'd help me?" she asked. "Because I hate bullies," Roger said. "And because the galaxy doesn't get better by letting brilliant people disappear." He stood, offering his hand. Mara hesitated, then took it. Her life didn't end that night. It pivoted. What Mara didn't know was that Malin wasn't just stealing credit. He was about to turn her creation into a weapon. The Nexian Science Institute glittered like a monument to ego. Mara moved through the gala hall at Roger's side, wrapped in a shimmering gown, every step a declaration, "I survived." Whispers followed her. Stares burned. "Let them watch." Roger looked infuriatingly comfortable in formal wear, broad shoulders filling a tailored black suit. His hand rested lightly at her back, steady, grounding. "Remember," he murmured, "we're just enjoying the party." Director Malin noticed them immediately. The man's smile cracked when he saw Mara standing tall, unbroken. "I insist," Malin said smoothly, stepping between them. "It's been so long since I've spoken to my former protege." Roger's grip tightened. Mara was just explaining her quantum transfer framework. Roger said pleasantly. Fascinating how similar it sounds to tomorrow's presentation. Malin's eyes darkened. Security shifted. Exactly as Roger wanted. As they danced, devices were planted. Systems mapped. Every Nexian safeguard quietly dissected by human ingenuity. Then Mara saw it. 20 neural interface units. Staff assignments. Service workers marked in red. They didn't consent, she whispered. He's going to use them. Roger's smile vanished. We changed the plan, he said. We don't just expose him. We stop him. Before she could respond, guards moved in. Malin's voice cut through the hall. Captain Kane, escort her to the lab. Early demonstration. Shock batons hummed. The doors sealed. And Roger met Mara's eyes, calm as a drawn blade. Malin thought he'd trapped them. He had no idea he'd just activated the most dangerous variable in the room. Human with nothing left to lose. The Nexian Science Institute didn't feel like a place of discovery tonight. It felt like a hunting ground. Crystal chandeliers refracted violet light across polished obsidian floors. Every smile in the room was sharp. Every laugh measured. Power moved through the gala in quiet currents. Status. Reputation, ownership of ideas. Mara felt it pressing against her lungs. Roger Kane didn't. He moved through the crowd like gravity bent for him. No armor tonight. Just a tailored black suit that hid the fact he was still dangerous. One hand rested at the small of her back. Not possessive, just certain. A human thing. Confidence without apology. Breathe, he murmured. They already think you broke. Let's disappoint them. She almost smiled. Director Malin noticed them within seconds. His eyes lingered too long, calculating, angry, threatened. Good, Roger thought. The music shifted, slow, deliberate. Nexian waltz tempo. Roger stepped forward before Malin could intercept. Dance with me, he said softly. Nothing scares a predator like prey that doesn't run. They moved together onto the floor. Roger adapted instantly. Not perfect, but relentless. Every step was learned mid-motion, corrected without hesitation. Humanity's specialty. The crowd watched, whispered. Malin watched harder. You're not that woman on the cliff anymore, Roger said, guiding her through a turn. You're the storm he pretended to control. Mara felt it then, something dangerous waking up. They passed near a security node. Roger's fingers brushed her wrist. A device slipped into her palm, cold and precise. Insurance, he said without looking. Walk past anything that hums. Malin finally cut in. Enjoying yourselves? He asked, smiling with his teeth. Roger didn't flinch. Immensely. I was just telling Mara how familiar tomorrow's demonstration sounds. A crack, small, real. Malin leaned closer. Humans are famous for promises they can't keep. Mara met his eyes. And Nexians, she said quietly, are infamous for stealing what they didn't earn. Silence hit like a blade. Roger spun her away before Malin could respond, pulling her close as alarms flickered briefly, just a whisper in the system. Enough. Security maps updating, Roger said. And Malin just tightened the noose himself. Mara's pulse hammered. Roger, she whispered, what if tomorrow isn't a presentation? He smiled, but it wasn't kind. Then tonight just became a countdown. Above them, deep within the Institute, 20 neural interface units silently powered on. They vanished from the gala during controlled chaos. Malfunctioning drink synthesizer. Panicked staff, redirected security. Roger's temporary operations room overlooked the Institute's core. Holographic grids bloomed across the air. Mara froze. Those requisitions, she whispered. 20 interfaces. That's not redundancy. Roger's jaw tightened. That's inventory. Names scrolled beside the equipment assignments, maintenance, catering, janitorial staff, disposable. He's going to force transfer them, Mara said, voice breaking. Use them as proof of control. Roger didn't soften his voice. Then we stop it, completely. Footsteps. Roger pulled her back against the wall as guards passed. To anyone watching, it looked like desperation. A stolen moment. His hand at her hip was warm. Real. Dangerous in a different way. Clear, he murmured, but didn't move immediately. When he did, the room felt colder. Exposing him won't be fast enough, Mara said. The summit starts at dawn. Then we don't expose, Roger replied. We detonate. Understanding hit her like vertigo. You want to hijack the demonstration? I want his system to fail publicly, ethically, and permanently. She stared at him. That could kill someone. Roger met her gaze. Which is why I'll be inside the transfer. No, immediate, fierce. Someone has to coordinate from within, he said. And you're the one who built the exit. Emotion surged, fear, gratitude, something far more dangerous. Before she could respond, an alert screamed across the interface. Schedule updated, demonstration advanced to dawn. And then, a new presence appeared in the room. Council robes. Steel spine, Dr. Thea Wren. I was wondering, the ethicist said calmly, why a man with Malin's reputation suddenly required 20 neural units. Mara swallowed. Roger stepped aside. Dr. Wren, perfect timing. The woman's eyes were sharp, curious. If I'm here, she said, someone's already crossed a line. Mara's emergency beacon vibrated. Heart. Her blood turned to ice. That's Roger, she said. Wren didn't hesitate. Go. If Malin moves first, the council moves with force. Mara ran. Alarms howled as laboratory doors slid open. Roger was on his knees, shock baton at his spine. Malin smiled. Congratulations, human. You're about to make history. The neural interface began to hum. Roger looked up at Mara and grinned. Don't, Mara said, stepping forward. Malin laughed. Too late. Energy surged through the interface. Guards tightened their grip on Roger. Here's what you never learned, Roger said casually. Humans don't walk into systems they don't understand. Malin sneered. You're bluffing. The lights went red. Unauthorized neural activation detected. Council protocol slammed online like a guillotine. What did you do? Malin shouted. Roger shrugged. Filed the paperwork first. Doors exploded open. Council peacekeepers flooded the lab. Malin slammed his hand down. Back off or I scatter his consciousness across the quantum lattice. Mara stepped to the console, calm, focused. You never read my failsafes, she said. You stole results, not intent. Her fingers flew. Locks engaged. Pathways collapsed. The interface screamed, not pain but refusal. Roger moved. Human reflex. Brutal efficiency. He dropped low, swept a guard, took a baton midair. Another guard hit the floor before drawing breath. Malin lunged. Roger hit him once. That was enough. Silence fell heavy as Malin was restrained, screaming about power and destiny. Dr. Wren approached Mara. Your system held. It always would, Mara said. For consent. Roger came to her side, alive, smiling, real. Hey, he said. Told you I'd come back. She didn't answer. She kissed him, hard, desperate, alive. Later, as dawn broke over Nexus Prime, they stood again at the cliff. Same wind, different future. You paused me, Mara said softly. Roger squeezed her hand. No, you chose. Below them, the city woke, unaware that a weapon had nearly been born, and that humanity had once again said no. Far below the Institute, a hidden backup core finished booting, unregistered, untouched, and still active. The Institute never slept. It only pretended to. Roger Kane moved through the upper corridors with the calm confidence of a man who belonged there. His newly forged night security supervisor credentials pinging green at every checkpoint. Every door that opened felt like borrowed time. Every step echoed a little too loud. Behind him, Mara walked with her shoulders squared, chin high, exactly how a Nexian scientist with restored status should look. Inside, her pulse was a riot. They've tightened the grid, she murmured, eyes flicking to the ceiling nodes. After the gala. Good, Roger replied quietly. Means Malin's scared. Fear made men sloppy. Humans had learned that lesson the hard way. War after war, system after system. They reached the observation ring overlooking the primary demonstration chamber. Below them, 20 neural interface cradles waited in a perfect arc. Too many, way too many. Mara's breath hitched. He's not even hiding it anymore. Roger's jaw tightened. He thinks tomorrow makes him untouchable. They slipped into a control alcove. Mara's hands danced across the holo display, pulling live feeds, internal memos, encrypted scheduling notes. Her skin darkened a shade as the picture came together. He's already preloaded partial consciousness anchors, she whispered. Once activated, the system will pull, not ask. Roger leaned closer, reading the flow. Meaning? Meaning if he starts the demo, those workers won't just participate. Her voice cracked. They'll be trapped. A low, dangerous stillness settled over Roger. The kind that came right before violence. Then we don't wait for the demo. A sharp alert pulsed red on the display. Unauthorized access detected, Sector C. Roger swore under his breath. That's the maintenance wing. Mara's eyes widened. Ren. They were already moving. The corridors blurred into motion, boots, breath, heartbeats pounding in sync. When they rounded the corner, they found Ren pinned against a bulkhead by two security officers, shock batons crackling. "Stop!" Mara shouted. Malin's voice drifted from behind them, smooth and amused. Dr. Mara, always dramatic. He stepped into view, hands clasped, eyes cold with victory. "You see," he continued, "this is why humans are such a liability." Roger shifted subtly, weight coiling like a spring. Malin smiled wider. "And why your human won't survive the night." Because for the first time, Malin had stopped bluffing and the trap was already closing. The first baton hit Roger square in the ribs. Pain exploded white-hot through his torso, implants screaming diagnostics as his muscles locked. He went down on one knee, not because he was weak, but because he chose not to let them see how much it hurt. Malin watched with fascination. Remarkable physiology, he mused. Still, biological. Bad choice. Roger surged forward, shoulder slamming into the nearest guard. The impact snapped armor plates and sent the man sprawling. The second guard swung. Mara screamed his name. Roger caught the baton mid-strike. Electricity tore through his arm, but he held on. He yanked the guard forward and drove his head back in a brutal, efficient arc. Silence followed. Heavy. Breathing. Blood on polished floor. Ren stared wide-eyed. "Humans are insane." "Correct," Roger growled. Then alarms detonated. Red lights. Lockdown shutters. The Institute sealed itself like a clenched fist. Malin backed toward the control terminal, expression sharpening. "You've proven my point, Kane. Violence is all your species understands." Roger wiped blood from his lip. "Funny, I learned restraint the hard way." Mara rushed to Ren, unlocking his restraints. "Can you move?" "Yes," Ren said, swallowing. "But Malin's initiating manual override." The chamber below them began to hum. Power surged. The neural cradles activated one by one. Mara froze. "He's starting it early." Malin's voice echoed over the intercom. "Observe history in the making." Roger turned to Mara, eyes steady despite the chaos. "If he triggers full synchronization, I need to go in." Her head snapped up. "No, it's untested. On humans." "I know." His voice softened. "That's why it has to be me." Her hands clenched in his armor. "You could lose yourself. Or I could hold the system together long enough for you to shut it down." A beat, then another. Mara nodded once. "Then I'll bring you back. No matter what it costs." Malin laughed from the control dais. "How touching." The primary cradle slid open. Roger stepped toward it. Malin's finger hovered over the final command. Because once a human entered the system, there would be no undo, only survival or erasure. The interface sealed around Roger with a hiss like a coffin closing. Cold swallowed him. Then nothing. No body, no breath, no pain. Just space. Not the comforting emptiness between stars, but a screaming lattice of data. Consciousness streams braided together without consent. Human minds would have shattered instantly. Roger didn't. He anchored. Training flooded back, not military drills, but something older. Humanity's real weapon, refusal. Refusal to panic. Refusal to surrender meaning. "I am still me." The system pushed harder. He felt other minds brushing against his, confused, terrified. Service workers, technicians, innocent. Roger planted himself like a spike through the network. On the outside, Mara watched his vitals spike into the red. "Roger, stay with me," she whispered, hands flying across the console. "I'm rerouting the failsafes now." Malin shouted from behind the glass. "You can't isolate him. He'll destabilize the lattice." "That's the point," Mara snapped. Inside the system, Roger felt Malin's control architecture, a cold, authoritarian construct trying to own thought itself. Roger smiled. Humans had broken gods before. He reached out, not to dominate, but to connect. To give the trapped mind something solid to cling to. "Follow me." The lattice buckled. Alarm screamed. Malin slammed commands in panic. "Shut it down!" Mara initiated the final protocol, her protocol. Consent cascade. Every non-voluntary link severed at once. The system imploded inward, collapsing safely, violently around Roger's anchored consciousness. The cradle exploded open. Roger gasped, body slumping forward as Mara caught him. Silence. Then, his eyes opened. Malin fell to his knees, staring at the dead system. Roger looked at him, voice raw and iron-hard. Lesson 1, he said. Never build a cage and assume humans won't break it. Because the system was destroyed. But something inside. Roger had changed forever. The summit hall was packed. Tiered balconies, holographic banners. 100 species watching from behind polite smiles and political masks. This was where careers were crowned or erased. Director Malin stood at the center platform, calm, radiant, untouchable. Mara stood 3 rows back, hands folded, spine straight. Roger was beside her in formal black. Posture relaxed in a way that screamed danger to anyone trained to notice. 20 service staff lined the rear wall. Marked quiet, disposable. Malin began his speech. Today, he said smoothly, we redefine exploration. Consciousness without risk. Control without loss. Lies wrapped in velvet. Roger's implant flickered. Security map complete. Fail-safes dormant. And something else. Malin wasn't planning one transfer. He was planning 20, simultaneous. Mara felt it then, the wrongness. The hum beneath the floor. Her code twisted. Stripped of consent layers. Stripped of mercy. Malin raised a hand. The neural cage descended. Gasps rippled through the hall as the first volunteer screamed. Roger moved. He stepped forward calmly, voice amplified by the hall's acoustics. Before you do this, he said, you might want to check your authorization stack. Malin froze for half a second. That was enough. The lights shifted. Council glyphs ignited overhead. Dr. Wren's insignia burned bright. Director Malin, her voice echoed. You are in violation of 12 ethical statutes and 1 criminal. Malin slammed his palm down. The cage activated anyway. Energy surged. Mind screamed. Roger felt the pull, felt his own consciousness tug toward the lattice. He smiled. Now, he whispered, we show them how humans break cages. Roger stepped into the transfer voluntarily, and the system did something it was never designed to survive. The quantum lattice swallowed Roger Kane. Not gently. The system expected panic, resistance, fragmentation. Instead, it met structure. Human neural architecture didn't disperse, it locked. Roger anchored himself inside the lattice like a spike driven through reality. His consciousness didn't float. It occupied. Alarm screamed. Malin staggered back as control layers collapsed. That's impossible, he should be dissolving. No, Mara said quietly, hands already moving. He's rewriting your system. Inside the lattice, Roger saw them. The trapped minds, frightened, looping, about to be erased. Listen, he broadcast, voice cutting through terror. Follow me. Stay behind my signal. Human command instincts. Flared. Battlefield calm forged in wars that never made history books. The lattice obeyed. Roger tore open pathways never meant to exist, dragging minds free. Rerouting them into safe buffers Mara had hidden deep in the architecture months ago. Malin screamed. Stop him! Security surged. Too late. Mara triggered the final protocol. Failsafe human override. Every non-consensual pathway collapsed. The cage shattered. Bodies fell, not dead, breathing, alive. Roger's consciousness slammed back into flesh. He hit the floor hard. Silence followed. Then the room exploded into chaos. Council guards seized Malin. Dr. Wren didn't look angry, she looked disappointed. Which was worse? Roger pushed himself up, blood at the corner of his mouth. He looked at Mara. You okay? She laughed, cried, pulled him into a crushing embrace, in front of the entire galaxy. You absolute idiot, she whispered. You could have died. He shrugged. Yeah, but they would have died for sure. Cameras recorded everything. Humanity just made the council very uncomfortable. As Malin was dragged away, he laughed once and whispered something that made Mara go cold. You think this ends with me? The cage was sealed in a vault beneath the council citadel. No power, no access, no chance of removal. Ever. Mara stood before it alone. Inside, the lattice still hummed faintly, tamed, contained, dangerous. Stronger than steel, Dr. Wren had said. Never remove it. Roger joined her, hands in his pockets, scars fresh, eyes steady. You okay? He asked. She nodded. I keep thinking, if you hadn't been there. But I was, he said simply. Humans do that. The council hearings were brutal. Malin talked. Too much. Turns out he wasn't alone. The galaxy had been flirting with control for a long time. Humanity's role changed overnight. No longer reckless newcomers. Now, unpredictable variables. Mara was reinstated, then promoted. Her work placed under her authority alone. Ethical locks encoded with human decision logic. Consent or nothing. Roger declined medals. Declined rank. Accepted one thing. A posting. With her. Back on the cliff. The wind still howled. The city still burned bright below. Mara leaned into him, fingers laced with his. I was ready to end everything, she said softly. And now? Roger asked. She smiled. Now I'm dangerous. He grinned. Good, Galaxy needs more of that. Far below, the cage slept, but not empty. The system had learned something that day. So had the Galaxy. Never build a prison assuming humans won't walk inside it. Because somewhere in the dark, other cages were already being built. And humanity had just taught the universe how badly that could go.